to Maine and everywhere in between. So I have a very national perspective when talking about what does it mean to be a high school student in the 21st century and how to move forward in the college admission process. I have a 17-month-old son, fun fact. His name is Theodore. Many of you have probably met him. And we have 2 dogs. So that's kind of a little bit about me. Like I said, I'm not a scary person. I'm a normal, everyday person. How many of you all are sophomores? Or parents of sophomores? Great, great. How many of y'all are juniors or parents of juniors? Okay, how many of y'all? Any seniors? Parents of seniors? Okay, that's a good sign. How many for you, this is your first time going through the college admission process, or the parents of for a student going through the college admission process? Okay, all right. How many of you, this is a second or third time, multiple students who have gone through? Okay, y'all keep your hands up for 1 second. If this is your first time, look around the room. These are your allies. These are your friends and resources, okay? You want to get to know these people who have gone through it before. So today, I'd love to just talk a little bit about this process and hopefully answer some questions. To be honest, I really feel like when talking about how to stand out in this process, you need to know yourself. I can't answer that question for you. Who are you? What are you passionate about? What do you love? What does it mean to be you? These are things you need to know. It requires a little bit of reflection. It requires a little bit of analysis. Maybe some trial and error. What do you enjoy? You need to find those things so that you can identify them clearly. There are over 4,000 institutions of higher education in the United States. Let me just tell you, that is a lot of choice. Right? 4,000 different choices to make. So this process is about choice. And it's about helping you to find a place where you are going to thrive, where you're going to be able to invest yourself and find opportunities to continue to grow. Within that, you will be able to stand out in the process as best you can, understanding who you are and finding that match. And that's why it's not always so easy to talk about geography or size or location. Because what is good for one person is not necessarily good for another. You can look at those rankings. Sometimes they're helpful. I'd say the majority of the time, they're probably not. I went to a school, undergrad, a small Jesuit school in Connecticut. Probably never heard of it. It's not ranked very highly. I double majored, double minored, studied abroad, and had 3 internships in 4 years. That set me up in a way like no other place could have. My contacts, my resources, my network, coming out of my undergraduate institution, led me to Atlanta, to have the opportunity to work at a place like Emory, to then pursue my master's. That is knowing myself and knowing where I'm going to thrive and making the most of those opportunities. Sorry, this keyboard. So today we're going to kind of run through 6 major considerations that every college and university is going to have. Some are going to weight some of these elements a little bit more highly than others. And that's that unique factor of each college and university process. It's important to understand that, especially as you are a sophomore and a junior, you are making choices that are going to set you up to open doors moving forward. And those considerations are important. So these 6 considerations that we're going to talk about are important to help you narrow down okay? Like I mentioned, some of them are going to be weighted a little bit more heavily than others. I'm going to go ahead and talk about them in an order that's very common for highly selective colleges and universities. If you are aiming for a highly selective college or university, if you follow this kind of order of operations and thinking about how you have prepared yourself, then you'll be in good shape. It's also important to consider, when thinking about these 6 elements, how, if you're not maybe shooting for the most highly selective university, it's okay to have these be in a different order. Does that make sense? So just keep that in the back of your mind. Okay, so we're going to start with rigor, and a lot of universities and colleges will start here. Rigor is a very common term to mean what context of your school, what academic challenges have you taken advantage of within the context of your school? So every school is going to be a little bit different. Here, your school offers advanced placement courses. So within the context of your school, when thinking about advanced placement courses, have you maximized your opportunities in all of the areas possible? Let's talk about those core areas: English, math, science, social studies, and yes, foreign language. All of those are going to matter. All of those are going to be considered rigorous opportunities for you within the context of your school. And so the more highly selective colleges and universities are going to expect at least one, if not more, advanced placement course in each one of those areas. Your school offers it, they're going to expect that you've taken it. A lot of times we will bring up the advanced placement versus dual enrollment question. I'm going to go ahead and address that now. Again, thinking about most highly selective colleges and universities so that if you're not aiming there, you have more flexibility. But these colleges and universities are going to say, if you had it at your school and you didn't take it, that's a missed opportunity. So the more highly selective colleges and universities would rather see you take advanced placement coursework than dual enrollment. They will give you credit for those advanced placement courses rather than the dual enrollment. Okay? So if you are thinking about an in-state school, University of Georgia System School, those are great schools, and if you take dual enrollment, they will likely give you credit for those. A school like, say, Emory, not going to give you credit for those classes. They are going to prefer that you take AP. Does that make sense? Okay. So the next consideration is going to be testing. Again, it's a number. All of the other factors besides rigor should serve to support your rigor. So for many colleges and universities, rigor is the #1 factor. The other 5 things should support them. They should add depth to your rigor. When talking about a test score, it's 1 4-hour period of your life. Your rigor demonstrates 4 years of your life. So that's why it is so much more significant. And when thinking about testing, there's the SAT and the ACT. Y'all are very familiar with these, or at least you should have heard of them by now. And generally speaking, it's recommended that you take each one once and then move forward based on where your strengths lie. I can't tell you which one that would be. That's up to you. There's easy conversion charts. You can Google it. Convert your SAT score to your ACT score, or vice versa. Anyone can find that conversion chart. It's public information. what is going to be when you want to test, and what is that going to be like for you? And so thinking about testing can also mean showing mastery. And this can be through the SAT 2 exams, which are subject test exams, or through the AP exams. Generally speaking, if you have taken an AP class, please take the AP exam. Why not? Most colleges will give credit, many for 3s, 4s, or 5s. Many more would say you have to have a 4 or 5, but demonstrate the mastery beyond the context of your classroom. Also know that you can take SAT 2s. Many colleges require them, so keep that in the back of your mind. What tests are you going to excel at, and what is that going to look like for you? Which ones do you want to take? So your GPA. Your school has a specific way of calculating this last measure. And so within this, know how your school calculates your GPA. Is it a weighted GPA? Is it an unweighted GPA? What does that look like? How does your school weight GPAs? You should know the answers to these questions because it's your school. I'll go ahead and tell you that many colleges are going to recalculate your GPA. They're going to look at your core academic courses, those 5 areas we just talked about. They're going to look at those courses. They're going to recalculate your GPA on some certain metrics that that school has decided is important. And so knowing that you have done the best you can within the context of your school in terms of your academic performance day in and day out will help prepare you for that. Your school profile. How many of you have looked at your school profile before? Okay, every hand in this room should have gone up. If you don't know what's going to the colleges and universities that you're applying to, that's a concern. A high school profile is sent on your behalf to every college and university that you apply to. Don't you want to make sure you know what's on that paper? Okay, so you can Google it. It's on your school website. It's not hard. If you have questions or concerns about what's on your high school profile, maybe you should talk to your guidance counselor. Maybe you should work on making sure you understand that document. Your high school profile tells the college and admission staff, what is your school like? Is it an urban school? Is it a rural school? How many students attend your school? What is your school's average SAT score? What percentage of your student body goes on to a four-year college or university? These are metrics that help us understand, from the college perspective, what is your school environment like? Your high school profile should also talk about your magnet program. How many of y'all are in the magnet program? That's a pretty substantial number of the students in this classroom. I want to know, what is that magnet program? What does it mean to be in that magnet program? These are key things from a college admission perspective that I want to know about, that are on your profile. Your profile should also talk about your GPA. And that's why it's on here. What is the highest GPA in your class? Is there a decile ranking? If there's no ranking, usually there's not. You're not individually ranked as individual students. Many schools stop doing that. But usually there's some kind of decile ranking. So I know, do you fall in the top 10% of your class? Are you in the top 50% of your class? Some schools even will tell you each individual course and where the student fell within the course. These are key metrics to understand your GPA within the context of moving on towards college. So when talking about, going beyond the numbers, it's important to consider, what does it mean to be a student in your high school, in this environment, in Chamblee, Georgia? Right? So I like to think about it this way. There are 24 hours in the day, right? in applications, but how are you spending your time? Are you involved in a culinary club? Are you involved in junior ROTC? Are you involved in athletics? Are you involved in performing arts? Do you have a part-time job? Do you have family responsibilities? Are you someone who has to be home every Tuesday to babysit your younger brother and sister? I don't know what that looks like. But those are key things that tell me how you spend your time. Your extracurricular involvements are meaningful activities. I need to know if you have to be home every Tuesday because that means you can't be involved in certain clubs and activities, right? That thereby negates those opportunities. So I can't expect that of you, but if I didn't know about your commitment because of your parents' work schedule, I might be upset that you weren't involved in those clubs and activities. So the more information you give me as a college admission counselor, the better off you are in being able to stand out in your application. This summer is another great opportunity for you to think about what do you want to be involved in. When thinking about your involvement, think about going back to the beginning. What are you passionate about? What do you love? If that's going to a baseball camp, great. If that's traveling with your family, wonderful. There's no expectation from the college side that you're involved in certain activities, except that those activities that you choose are going to best reflect you. If you're someone who loves video games and you attend a video games camp, tell me about that experience. But I'm expecting a little bit more than sitting on your couch all summer. I think your parents would expect a little bit more than sitting on your couch all summer. And so that's what we talk about. When we talk about extracurricular activities, we're talking about being intentional about what you're doing and how you're spending your time. In your application, you're going to have the opportunity to write a little bit. Some people talk about this as an essay. I have to be honest with you, and I don't really like that word, essay. I much prefer this term, personal statement. It is very much a personal statement. The Common Application will release their writing prompts for the 2015-2016 year later this month. So for those of you who are juniors, you're going to find out your writing prompts in March. They are due sometime in the next 8 months. That's a long time to think about what you're going to write about. When thinking about this, I know that when colleges read your personal statement, they're not concerned with which writing prompt you choose. You should be able to write your personal essay, your personal statement, without ever seeing those writing prompts. To be perfectly honest, you should be able to. Because regardless of what those personal writing prompts say, the end result should be the same. I used to challenge students when coming to Emory to visit, and I would have the opportunity to talk with them. I would say, if you wrote your personal statement, I dare you to take your name off the top of it. Make sure your name's not anywhere in that personal statement. Drop it on the floor of your high school during passing period. The question is, if someone picked it up and read it, would it get returned to you?